What up, family, and welcome to the Grizz 901 Postgame Show. I know you're surprised that I've got a hoodie on because I know we're all sweating that one out. That was a win for the Memphis Grizzlies over the Utah Jazz. All wins are good wins, but not all wins are peaceful wins. But we're going to come at you live. We'll probably keep it pretty short tonight. Our guy DG is traveling for work. Yes, we both have real jobs, much to the surprise of the fan base, but we will be having a surprise guest host join us, a surprise to me even. I didn't expect this guy to be hopping on tonight, but appreciate everybody hopping into the show tonight. Again, we're going to get into the game here in just a little bit. We'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, all of which happened tonight. But I'm never going to do this show on my own. If I do, something went horribly, horribly wrong. So let's go ahead and bring in our special guest for the evening. Kenny!
I love that beat so much. Every time that he introduces you, DG introduces you, I just nod my head. So I'm sitting here like this the whole time. Man, it's good to see you, Nate. What's up, brother?
Oh, just surviving, living the dream. Did you see that thing where the guy's like, if you ever hear a man say he's living the dream, it means he's one step away from the edge?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
We're living the dream. I think everybody in the Grizz Nation is living the dream tonight.
The other example of that is hearing Another Day in Paradise. That man is literally on the verge of probably mass shooting, like somewhere in a mall or something like that. Like, yeah, it's bad.
Yep, going full postal, essentially. Tell you what, I think we were all going to go full postal if the Grizzlies lost to what is my now hometown team, unfortunately, in the Utah Jazz. But they end up pulling it out anyways. So, listen, good win. Any win's a good win. That Utah Jazz team is pretty talented. They just, for some reason, still suck. I don't know why. They have so many good players, but still suck. But I'm on the reverse side of things tonight. It's not about what I think. It's about what you think. So, Kenny, were you able to watch any part of this game tonight?
Yeah, I was able to watch some of it. I had it kind of in the background because I'm getting ready to go. Most of what I do for Bluff City Media is I cover a lot of the Memphis Tiger stuff. And so obviously everybody knows the Memphis Tigers are headed to Fort Worth. Maybe everybody doesn't know. But the Memphis Tigers are headed to Fort Worth tomorrow to play in the AAC tournament. And myself and Roman Cleary, who is the beat reporter for BCM for the Memphis Tigers, we're headed there tomorrow morning. So I'm packing everything up, getting everything going, trying to hang out with the fam a little bit. And then I get the bat signal from you. So I'm here, man. I'm here to help and offer as whatever I can in terms of any insight into this game.
So for everybody's benefit, first off, Astronomo, I'm here for whatever crash out you got tonight. John Collins does deserve better, though.
Yes.
But I had like 3 different people lined up to do tonight's show at any given day this week.
Right.
And one way or another, something kept happening. So we're going to get a couple of the guys that we're looking forward to getting on here on still at some point. But Kenny was
I'm like the 5th string here. Like I'm like the, hey bro, break in case of emergency, come and hang out with me for a little bit. So
yeah, he's like that kid at the end of the sports movie that no one's like, oh no, don't let him take the last shot, but then he makes it, and then you get your Disney original special on the screen.
Exactly.
But shout out to all the Tigers team, by the way. If you guys want any Tigers coverage, we have such a great team covering them, and obviously an exciting year, an exciting time coming up for them to see what they can do. So stay tuned for that. But all I typically talk about is how mad Tigers fans get, so we're not going to get into that.
Let's do that.
For tonight, I actually was able to watch the game for a little bit, so I will hop into it. So
I have a question for you. One question before we get started. Why was it so close, bro? Like why was this game so close? I saw them up by almost 20 points in the first half. Like what happened?
Well, when your only bigs that you play are Zach Edey and Brandon Clark, Jay Huff got sent to the never realm after his first little stretch. And you're playing against a team that is super long, super tall, and has good rebounders. Like John Collins is not like a tall guy for the NBA. We saw him in person; he'd be pretty tall, but great rebounder. Part of the reason I thought he would fit so well with this team is he rebounds much bigger than his size. Yeah. So bunch of bigs out there, and then when the lack of shooting comes into play, is when you don't have someone who can punish you for playing his own, which is the main reason all these games are all close.
Right.
You need Jaren Jackson Jr. back in the lineup, man.
100%. Right. Yeah.
He's the guy that's going to punish you. He's your zone buster. He's the guy that is your mismatch on any time you want to do that. And if you go Jalen Wells, Vince Williams out on the floor, they're not knocking down shots. Teams have to respect them. They're just going to sell out on Bane and Ja on his own. So.
Yeah, I think in the third quarter, what I noticed is that Utah went to a zone, and that zone basically for a large portion of the third quarter just stifled the Grizzlies' offense. They just couldn't they weren't knocking shots down. They were turning the ball over a little bit too much. And once that happened, their defense kind of went out the window just a little bit. Is that kind of what happened? They just went to that zone and took the Grizzlies almost an entire quarter to figure it out, basically?
Yeah, Grizz just weren't knocking down shots. I mean, it's pretty much as simple as that. And then the Jazz did start making shots, to their credit. Yeah. So that's part of it. The Grizzlies' defense was not fantastic by any stretch in the second half, but part of it is the Jazz started knocking down shots. Great offense beats good defense every time. So they started knocking down shots, sort of getting what they want to get to. The Grizzlies could not keep up with the size, and they could not get defensive rebounds.
Dude, they almost got out rebounded 2-1 in this game.
Yeah, man. It was brutal. It was brutal, which I'll ask a little bit about tonight. I know you didn't get to watch much, but we do have some theoretical things we can talk about tonight. Yeah. But let's get into the bad first. Just a struggle for the two guys who need to not be a struggle for. I don't want to spend too much time because they're doing a lot of good night in and night out. I think they both can still figure it out. But Jalen Wells and Vince Williams, a combined 1 for 10 from 3 tonight. So, Kenny, we actually have not talked about this. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
When it comes playoff time, do you trust one of those guys, both of those guys, neither of those guys at this point?
At this point, I heard Brevin say this on the broadcast, and I agree with it. I think one of the things that's hurting Jalen Wells right now is that he's just settling for threes way too much, right? Like he has the opportunity. His defense is always going to be kind of an equalizer. He's a great defender. But one of the things that he's decent at is being able to use his size and his, ability to the fact that teams have to respect the idea that he can shoot the ball well and take it to the rim and make passes from the out, touch the paint, make passes out, or at least, a layup at the basket. We even saw him do that. I think in the fourth quarter, he had a lob to Zach in the paint, right? So those are kind of things that he can do. Right now, what I feel like he's struggling with is that he's settling on the offensive side for literally only threes, right? Like I think he took, what did he go? He went 1 for 7 from the field, and 6 of those shots were 3-pointers tonight. Like that, I think he's limiting himself. So I trust Jalen more so than I trust Vince, but I think I am like going into the postseason with Vince and Jalen is not a recipe for a long-term postseason run for the Grizzlies. To the point where I would almost even consider saying, you know what, man, like we Kleiman, you've put your faith in these young guys. They're getting their reps. They're getting their time. If we want to see how far this thing can go in the playoffs, let's start Santi at the 3. Like that might be an option for me.
That's such a polarizing guy to throw out there. Even for me, like on a given Monday, I'm going to be all in on that. And you get to Wednesday, I'm going to be all out on that.
Well, here's the thing. The last time me and you got on this show together was last season, right? Like we were on the show. We did one show last season. So this is our we've hit our yearly quota for this Grizzly season, me and you together. The last time me and you were on a show together, my initial freak out rant was trade Santi. He sucks. Get him out of here. Right. And so now a year later, I'm telling you, I would seriously consider starting Santi at the 3 if you have aspirations to take this thing far in the playoffs, because I have very little faith that Jalen and Vince will help produce a long playoff run for the Grizzlies.
Well, and that's part of the problem. I'm going to bring up Kip's comment here because I think this is what going into the season, the problem was going to the trade deadline. The problem was, and now we're here after the trade deadline, which is we have no choice.
That's it. right?
That's who you got, right? And for anybody who's not a regular to show, we love both these dudes.
Yeah, 100%.
They are fantastic. I think they're going to be awesome, but they're a guy who is year one. He's a rookie coming in here, and like rookies in the playoffs are tough. Is he going to get streaky? Is he going to be able to knock him down under bright lights? And the other dude has been coming off an injury and is basically in year 1.5 of his NBA career. Coming off an injury to said himself, he's only 80% last time they asked. So it's just tough. But those are the guys you have, and you need them. Yeah. You need them defensively, right? So it's a little bit tough. You're still trying to figure out who you're going to play with in the playoffs, which is the concern for this team all along, right? So D'Angelo agrees with you, by the way. He likes Santi at the 3. It's
not a great option. I'm not sitting here saying that should be Santi should be the 3 moving forward. I'm just saying, like, it depends on like what your aspirations are for the playoffs, I think, because I do think Santi has shown that he can be a serviceable 3 for a little bit. I'm not saying don't play Jalen or don't play Vince. I think you get them time, but you know, I just, if you had to make me choose between Jalen and Vince right now, I would say Jalen. But he's a rookie, man. Like, and ultimately you're going to end up, if you do trust Jalen, you're going to have to start Jalen and Zach in the playoffs. And that's just, that's tough, man. That's tough. Yep.
And part of the problem is you just don't know where the minutes are going, right? It's the thing that's just played out as the entire season going. GG gets 17 tonight. Lamar Stevens gets 12. J Huff gets 9. Vince gets 17. You know, it's kind of all over the place. And it's
Scotty gets 20. Scotty gets 20. This is I'm frustrated. Okay, like I'm going to be honest with you. You at the very beginning of the show, you said I asked you why was this game so close, and you said, "Man, they're talented. Utah's talented, but they have a lot of length and they have a lot of this. Why in the hell did I turn on the TV or look my face to the TV multiple times and see Scotty, Luke, Desmond, and Ja with Brandon Clark out there multiple times in this game?"
This I will actually defend Taylor on.
Okay, help me understand.
Part of this also is you go with the guys you trust. And whenever someone's like, why isn't Gigi getting his minutes? I'm like, listen, Gigi got 17 minutes. I'm telling you, the last 7 of those just was lost, right? Just lost. Which he's going to have awesome nights. He's going to have rough nights. He's so going to be part of the future of this team. It just happens sometimes.
Yes.
They were in a zone. The Grizzlies couldn't bust a zone. You got to spread him out.
Okay.
That's why he was doing that. And to Scotty's credit, he
played well.
Still makes me nervous at the free throw line.
Yes.
But he's shooting the ball really well. And that's the reason Luke got in at the end of the game as well. And you saw the Grizzlies turn that around, start to pull away when Luke Kennard got on the floor, because all of a sudden you can't send 2 guys at Ja and send 2 guys at Des because Luke's open in the corner. Right. So that's why Taylor was doing that.
Scotty played his ass off. He had 4 steals, 6 assists, 11 points. I mean, dude, he's on triple-double watch. Like, come on, man. Like,
he almost killed our guy, Ja Morant, on the alley-oop.
And he almost killed Ja. That was clearly not a flagrant, by the way. Clearly not a flagrant.
That pass has got to be connected. That's got to be where Ja can get it, man. It was Jake LaRavia-esque.
Jake LaRavia-esque. I was like, hey, all y'all bums, stop throwing me alleys, man, because none of y'all can do it.
Tyus!
Where's Tyus? Where's Kyle Anderson? Bring me Kyle Anderson.
Exactly. Where's somebody who can put a pass on a pin? But that's, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm more critical of Taylor than DG is. There's a lot of people who are a lot more critical of Taylor than either one of us is. Sometimes he's just working with what he's got.
Got you.
Right? And that was a result of that tonight.
I mean, ultimately, yes, and maybe that answers the question as to why the rebounding was so obscene in this game, right? They got 60 to 39 total rebounds. It's very hard to win games when you are out rebounded that badly in a 48-minute stretch. But shout out to Luke, shout out to Josh, shout out to Desmond, man. They played well tonight, and Luke obviously came back, and I see a bunch of people in the comments saying that Luke felt the pressure from Cam Spencer. Do you think that's true?
Yes. Every time somebody steps up out of nowhere, Luke ends up going off for 3 weeks. Yeah. So that's exactly what we needed for that.
Was
And
looking
hey,
like the Spider-Man theme, like, oh, me and you are the
yeah. Listen, he's gonna like go out for a little bit, let somebody take off, get that pressure in the back of his head, and go back to Avatar state Luke, which is exactly what
100%.
we need.
Yeah.
But yeah, our leading rebounder tonight was Lamar Stevens, who had 6 rebounds in 12 minutes. So, because of course he did. I love Lamar Stevens, man. But understand why he didn't get a ton of run tonight.
Where was
But
Zach? What was Zach? I mean, Zach played 20 minutes. He only had 4 rebounds.
yep, only
Right.
4. It's tonight was one of the nights, and it's pretty rare these days actually, where he just was a little too slow to the ball. Like
Yes.
he would have good position, and then somebody would just get there quicker than him. You know.
100%. Yeah.
But I'm not going to rip on Zach. He has learned a lot. He continues to improve at a rapid rate. So I'm not going to rip on him tonight. Just one of those nights that you haven't seen much from him lately.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the flip side. The flip side is you get another Ja and Dez night. Ja with 28-7, only 1 rebound, but that's okay. And then Dez with 17-9. Mr. Assist lately.
I love
9
it.
assists again and 5 boards. They combined to go a 7 and for 11 from 3. That's what you want to see from these guys. Just stepping into it all night long. But I haven't had a chance to talk with you about Ja and sort of his, I think it's fair to say, a resurgence over the past couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Do you think, I'm going to put you on a hot button question here.
Okay.
Is that just because they're just running more screens, or like, hey, Ja, go be Ja? Or is it because Jaren's out and Jaren's in Ja's way?
No, wow. I almost answered that too quickly. I mean, can I say it? Drugs are a hell of a thing. Like, is that, I mean, honestly, drugs are a hell of a drug, right? Like, I genuinely wonder if he's just pain free for the first time in a long time, right?
Yep.
And so I think there's that point to it, but there's no way that Ja can look at this unless he's just totally inward focused and like his stat line focused and say this team is better without Jaren being out there, right? Like I mean, come on, man. Like that would be absurd, right? I would be those guys. You don't see the cracks that you start to see in like 2 main guys on a team. You don't see, at least I don't see the cracks. You don't hear the comments. You don't see whatever. So I'd be surprised if it was that. I do think that there's probably schematically some different things that are happening with Jaren out that help, right? Like they're not better without Jaren Jackson Jr. at all. That's crazy talk. But no, I think that we're clearly seeing more of an attention focus on what Ja, like letting Ja be Ja in this offense right now with Jaren being out. But these guys get paid a crap ton of money and are professionals, and so does Taylor. They got to figure that out. Like they got to figure out how to like make both of those dudes flow at the same time. So if it is anything, like I don't think it's a personal thing with Jaren. I think it's hey man, this lane's free and clear for me to do whatever I want. I ain't got some 7-footer who can literally make shots from everywhere in the paint, standing in my way. That could be a part of it, but I don't think it's a personal thing.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with Jaren being out, other than I wanted to put you on a hot button question just for kicks. And sorry, Lauren, we were doing that tonight. It was there too much to not be able to do it. But I think it's a lot more.
It is good to see Ja playing well, though. I'll be honest with you, man. It's good to see him playing well again.
I think some of it's from what Black Ninja DJ was saying. He got the Wolverine serum in the shoulder. That, like you said, is very helpful. I know we both have played enough sports. We know what that can do for you. You're like, oh, this is perfect for like 3 months until you get your next injection.
Until you get the next one. Yeah.
But the other part of it is like, okay, we can't go to Jaren because Jaren has been playing at all NBA level, only all-star from the team, defensive player of the year, all NBA caliber type stuff. It's easy to say, hey, Jaren's a guy who's been carrying us lately. We're going to go to him. And it's easy enough to say that's what we're going to do. Ja has not had that to be able to say, hey, we're just going. He's like, he knows it's him. He knows it's on him to carry this team. And what that's resulted in is Ja remembering, oh, yeah, I'm Ja Morant. Right?
Freaking 12, man. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. But for everybody who's like doesn't think that can work when Jaren comes back, I'm like, yo, that gives you a chance to go 5 out and do a little my turn, your turn, if nothing else. Right. So I'm not worried about those guys figuring it out. If anything, we have this level of Jaren, which we have never had before to the consistency he's had of this season. And 2, we also have Ja remembering he's Ja Morant. And now it's like, okay, now Ja's not second guessing himself the way he was before. And he was clearly, whether it was injury or what, seemed to be second guessing himself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's some offense issues with that not being great, but ultimately we got this.
Yeah.
Ja hitting a 3 just to dagger the game tonight. I mean, that's the stuff that we're used to. And now we're going to be able to get that with Jaren Jackson Jr. coming back.
Yeah, so. The last couple of games, I know he's been on. I think Pete and Brevin talked about this on the broadcast tonight. I think he's shooting 17% for the last, I think 4 or 5 games from the 3-point line. It's not been great, and he's shooting them at a pretty high clip for what he normally does. This might be a hot thing. I don't mind him taking those shots, to be honest with you. I think you need him. You need him to feel confident enough to take those shots. Like, I don't want him second guessing himself out there. I want him to, if I feel like this is a shot I can take, I want to take it. And if you miss it, you miss it. Like, I'm just a firm believer that I don't care if you miss a lot of shots. Just take them, take good shots in a good flow and let the chips fall where they may. And I think we're seeing over the last couple of games, even tonight, especially with him icing the game with a 3-pointer. I mean, he shot 4 for 7 tonight from the 3-point line. I mean, that's if you can start getting a confident Ja Morant with a guy who shoots a confident 3-point shot, and then a guy who's willing to then take that little mid-range floater jumper type of thing, he becomes that evolved version of Ja Morant that we've been wanting to see for so long. And that honestly will help remove some of those it'll extend his career out even longer, right? Not having to fly at the rim and get, take bad alley-oop passes from Scottie Pippen Jr. and, anyway, so.
Jake LaRavia.
Yeah, and from Jake LaRavia. I mean, that injury he had from that pass was a damn car wreck, bro. Like, it was crazy.
It was terrible. It was terrible. But I'm 100% with you. Like, you needed Ja to keep taking those shots more and more and more and more, because he's going to find it.
He's going to find it.
Ja's not a 19% 3-point shooter.
No,
he's not a 40% 3-point shooter either.
No,
but he's.
But you don't need him to be. You don't need him to be a 48% 3-point shooter. If he can hit threes at a 30% clip, and then be willing to take that little mid-range jumper, he becomes unguardable. Because at a 30% clip, you have to guard. You have to at least respect it, right? Like, you have to. And so I say to him, keep shooting them, man. Like, I know you missed a lot. I know you went 17% for a 5-game stretch. Keep shooting them. Keep shooting them. Because I trust Ja over, some other people on the team shooting threes.
Well, when the clock's ticking, I would have Ja Morant shooting a 3 over about anybody else on the team.
Yeah.
Like, because that's a DNA thing.
It's a DNA thing.
Right? When you got down and you're starting to see tenths off the clock instead of minutes and seconds, I want Ja Morant shooting that ball, no matter where it needs to be shot from.
I want the ball in his hands, absolutely, no matter what.
I was like, tonight, the Jazz went up by 1. Ja got a corner 3. That was the only 3 of the night until the one at the very, very end of the game that I was like, that's going in. Just because it's who he is. It
looked so good coming out of his hands. That corner 3 that he missed, the way he shot it so confidently and so smoothly, I was like, this is just who he is, man. Like, yes, he missed it. Who gives a shit? Like, he you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm talking about the one he made. I'm talking about the one he made to go up 2 late in the game.
Did he hit 2 in the fourth quarter or just 1?
I think he hit 2.
Yeah. Okay, so the corner 3 he made. Okay, 2. My bad.
Yeah, he made the corner 3, and it was the Jazz had just gone up by 1. Yeah. That's the point. It was a pivotal possession in the game. Jazz had a lot of momentum going their way, but it could go either way, right? You can feel that momentum in the balance type of feel. John makes that three, gets the momentum back to the Grizzlies.
Come on, man.
You know, it's awesome. And I am going to bring this up because that's what's hilarious is Jaren, when he was super inconsistent, I was always like, just get the clock under 90 seconds and let Jaren shoot as many threes as he wants because he's going to shoot 80%.
Right.
And so we haven't seen that in a long time. But actually, we did. He banked in a three not long ago against the Spurs.
Against the Spurs. Was it the Knicks or Spurs?
It was the Spurs.
Spurs, yeah.
But it's hilarious that we have two guys like that on our team. But all in all, I think everybody can see John Morant's looking like John Morant again. And them getting Jaren back sooner than later gives them a chance to figure out how to do that together. Leads you with hope into the playoffs.
Yeah.
If nothing else. Meanwhile, like the quietest 30 ball I've ever seen from Luke Kennard tonight. Like it's 7 for 9 from three, he'll do it. But I was like, that dude made 7. That dude had 30 points. How did that happen? But good to see that.
Yeah.
Last guy I really want to talk about, and this is not just a tonight thing. It is every single night, and we always make sure we mention it, but we don't always really hit on it heavy. Brandon Clark, dude.
Oh, God. Dude, you look at his stat line, and his stat line doesn't jump off the table at you. But, man, let me tell you, I am so impressed by him. Keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, that's it. Yeah, good. Who's going to rebound? Brandon Clark's going to rebound. I know he's hating on Jaren, but that's all you need to know. Brandon Clark everywhere, all the time. And it doesn't matter. He just brings the same energy night in and night out.
Yeah.
But I just am so impressed with him.
Yes.
Right? It's like I said, there's nothing that jumps off the box score. But night in and night out, he is always doing stuff that makes such a difference.
100%.
You know? And you just need guys like that, you know. And I'm glad to see it because at the beginning of the season, you just didn't know if he's ever going to be able to do that again on a high level. And here he is, doing it when it matters most late in the season.
I look at a guy like Brandon Clark, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to the person I'm going to kind of compare him to. And I look at his effort level, and I say, like, that his effort level is what gives him minutes in this rotation, right? There's nothing that he does really, like, athletically or in terms of like a skill set or even a game plan. Like, you don't do anything for him. You know, he doesn't have I think if he could get better at pick and rolls, if he could get better at that screen, the actual action of screening, then I think that pick and roll to the basket with that little floater, the little, what do they call it, the BC bounce. I think that's like a really tough move to stop. But you're not going to see that. It's not like they're going to call that a play, right? Like Taylor's not on the sideline going, hey, you know, run the BC bounce play or whatever. You know? But it's
a great name for it, though.
Yeah, but it's his effort level that just stands alone. I think that just stands out so much. And when you compare it to what I see right now in Gigi Jackson, it is like, and I don't. Gigi's coming off injury. He had probably the most severe injury outside of, you know, coming into the season that you know, the entirety of the roster had. But there is an effort level on. Yeah, I know, right? Art. That'd be crazy.
Be still my beating heart.
Yeah. But there is an effort level that I'm not seeing from Gigi that concerns me. And I think that's why you're not seeing him close games. I think that's why you're not seeing him get extended minutes right now when he should be getting those extended minutes. You're seeing that effort level that Brandon puts out there, and it's just, he's a disruptor at the highest degree. And when things are going terribly, you just know Brandon's going to do something to disrupt the flow of the other team. He's going to do something out there that's going to change the game.
Yep. And with Gigi, just to be really specific there, I think a lot of what's going on with Gigi is just not quite knowing where he fits. Right? I just feel like it's just one of those where he doesn't want to do too much because he knows he's not the guy, but he doesn't want to also like hold the team back. And he's just trying to figure out where he fits. And I talked about this with Daniel a lot. He's just so talented that it makes it harder for him to just fit into a tiny role like some of these other guys do. Like Jalen Wells has been such a revelation this year, but you're not expecting Jalen Wells to be like a KD level type of scorer on a given night,
Right.
and Gigi has that type of potential. And so it's pretty hard for Gigi to figure that out. Plus, he's coming off an injury where he's missed so much time to be able to build that chemistry with the team. So
I agree with you. I agree with you, Nate. I agree with you on everything you said. My critique of Gigi's effort is not an indictment on his future as a Grizzly or what I think he could be as a basketball player. I think he is one of the most I think he has one of the highest ceilings of anybody on this team in terms of his skill set. Like, he is a freaky basketball player. His size, his abilities, he scores from all three levels. He's fantastic in that regard. But I would also like to see him rotate and help defense and try to block Colin Sexton at the rim tonight. You know what I'm saying? I would also like to see him dive on the floor for loose balls. I would like to see him, like, instead of doing the Olay swinging arm defense, trying to knock the ball out from behind, guard your yard, stand in front of somebody and move your feet. Like, that's what I want to see. And those aren't the things that you have to be like, I shouldn't have to, like, the coaching staff shouldn't have to say, let's find him his role with this team before he starts doing those things. Right.
Yep.
Like, play defense, man.
Yep. No, listen, it's the reason he's not on the floor too. Like, if anybody's wondering, Gigi's not on the floor because of a lack of offense. Yeah. It's because I can't trust you to be where you need to be on defense. But the reason I always wanted to defend Gigi in that specific scenario is because of the, like, quote unquote character issue things coming into the draft. And I just don't want that to become another narrative with a guy who's been nothing but stellar since he's been a part of the Grizzlies.
Dude, right? He's one of the most delightful people on this team, right? Like, in terms of the way he talks and the interactions that you hear from people that talk with him. What happened?
Every time that he drops some kind of curse word in a post-game interview, I'm like, what's that? I know your dad's preacher. And I got that going up. Like, what was saying, GG church boy. I'm like,
yep.
I know what happens in one of those households when you curse on national television.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I guarantee you, Gigi has a swear jar at his house that he has to go put in dollar bills when he gets home. Like, that absolutely happens. We funded our beach vacation this year during the summertime with our swear jar. So
there you go.
At our house, this is what we do.
You and me both come from a similar background, so I'm always just like, I know, like, every time he says I can help him, I'm like,
yep,
mom and dad's not gonna be happy about that.
I guarantee you his phone's blowing up right now. But
exactly. Somebody tuned into the show and sent it like, I told you, you're bad sign on the family. But by the way, tonight we're going with something that is not considered classy, but actually underrated.
Apparently not available in Canada anymore. Is that what?
Oh yeah, not much is available in Canada anymore. Hey, what's up?
More for Nate. What are you talking about?
Yeah, listen, I always take a bottle of that because it's cheap. Yes. But
with Gigi stuff, I do not. I hope that my critique of his defensive effort is not being used would be used as a way to say that he's a malcontent or anything like that. I would never say that. I just want to see him give a little bit more effort in that regard. But he's also 19 years old.
Right. And that's the other part is, like, our guy Chuck came in here a few nights ago. I was like, hey, he's years away from drinking, so let's be patient. Yeah, hopefully he's going to get in real trouble with the parents.
Oh, man. Lauren's husband is getting saucy tonight, man. Hey, that is, Jack and Coke is, yes, Jack and Coke is he's trying to get into some bad stuff tonight. Jack and Coke, drinking Jack and Coke.
Yeah, last time I was drinking Jack and Coke, I was really glad I wasn't getting ID'd. But I mean, just because I didn't want them to see my age. That's the only reason I'm saying that. But all right, that's enough for tonight in general. Now we're going to get into the funky Grizz talk that happens after we get to 10 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, in case anyone's wondering.
There you go.
This conspiracy theory art. He's actually not a conspiracy theorist, but we're going with this tonight. Jaren has been active. Do you think there's any chance we see him on Friday against the Cavs or Saturday against the Heat?
Well, I'll say this. I I don't know anything about injury stuff like that, but I do trust Dr. Buckets on from the $2 Sports Show. He's kind of he's a doctor of sports medicine, right? So what you see, by the way, we found out tonight that Katie Babcock, the head athletic trainer for the Grizzlies, is the one that screams the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's pretty cool.
She's loud too.
And she is
you
loud.
Never don't hear it.
Right. That's awesome. He seems to think, and he said this on multiple shows on BCM's network, he seems to think that Jaren will be back by Friday. That they are pushing him, that they will push him to come back early because they want to get him that 65 game threshold. And that there probably wasn't a reason to play him tonight. Maybe after looking back, they ended up winning. Maybe there was a reason to play him.
Oh, duh.
Yeah. But I would suspect he's back this weekend, whether it's Friday or Saturday, honestly.
This part I didn't think about. TA game is Saturday. That's going to be special for a lot of different reasons. So maybe that's the night. I'll be honest, I want them to win for TA. I want that to be a special night because that dude absolutely deserves it. At the same time, as someone who's been watching this team this season, I feel like they need a win. If they're going to get one of those wins, I'd rather be the Cavs. Right, get one of those big wins heading into the playoffs.
I would love to see, obviously, a Jaren back playing well. I want to see the Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson Jr. matchup again, but I really do want to see Ja at full strength playing again against that team because he didn't have did he even play the last game against them?
Cleveland?
Yeah, the last Cleveland game. Was he in that game? I can't. Well, listen, let's not act surprised. Let's not act like he hasn't been out for a large portion of the year. But
no, I get it. But yeah, he was.
Was he in that game? Well,
he was in that game.
Yeah. So, I would love to see them. I would love to see them face off against Cleveland and beat that team, and shut a lot of folks up.
Yep, and you need those wins because anyone who's played athletics at any kind of high level knows that some of these narratives can get into your own head. Right? Can we beat these teams there at the top? 100%. Are we a tier below? Yeah. And getting those kinds of wins can mean a lot. But yeah, last time Ja 6 for 13 from the field. You want more shots than that? 21 and 10 against Cleveland. So good game.
Good game. Yeah. Maybe he was better than that.
Yeah. Just wasn't as aggressive as what you've been seeing lately. But hopefully we do get Jaren back for multiple reasons. One, want him to be able to get those end of season awards. Two, 100%. Want him to be able to go out because you need him against a team like the Cavs. Like that's not a team you can win with the current roster you have, minus Jaren Jackson Jr.
Again,
do want to bring this up?
Bringing Jay Hub. As much as I love Jay, come on, man. Like you need Jaren out there for that game.
Yeah, I don't want to see that against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Just wanted to bring this up because it made me laugh. Chicken Unicorn. First off, A+ name. Second off, Jack and Pepsi making you magically appear in California. I actually like Pepsi, which I know is like such a sin in Southern land.
What's wrong with you?
But I would never put Jack inside of it. That just seems like it's going to make you sick. First, and this was not the Astronomo crash out I expected, was getting mad at Miss Babcock for her not getting the time exactly right on the countdown.
Right.
I can tell it annoys you on the broadcast. That's on you, brother. I'm normally here for your crash out, but not for that one. And lastly, Wayno, showing you some love. He loves your pork.
Wayno, my pork. I like
that. Sounds.
I love. Listen, Wayno, man, like that. I'm flattered, bro. I'm flattered. Yeah,
he loves
Wayno. Shout out to Wayno, man, and shout out to Astronomo because I don't get to join this show as much as I would like to, in the comment section. But he's in the comment section for all of our YouTube videos, and he is a crash out king, boy. Like that man, I love it. He's on 10 all the time.
Left hand salute. But, also with Wayno, smash that like button. We are the Grizz 901 postgame show. I am not your normal host, but that means you're just in good luck tonight because you get me and Kenny instead. But super excited for Friday. Like Joe's saying, crowds gotta get loud. That's got to be a hype game. Art wants to sit Cam Spencer on him. Listen, you got 6 fouls. Might as well send him out there. And other than that, I told you this was going to come out. Coke better than Pepsi.
Of course.
Check it, RC Cola. All right, I got to stop. We're going to get so off the rails. And we're getting into like what you might call it. RC Cola and Mr. Pibb is probably next.
I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, but how much fun was that KD, Cam Spencer, Desmond Bain interaction the other day? How much fun was that? Like,
dude,
I got so many vibes from just a few years ago from this Grizzlies team. I was like, it felt warm to my soul seeing that.
Well, and the thing that's awesome with KD is, that dude just wants to hoop. He just wants to play basketball, man. And he, before they were getting in it, I'm assuming, he was actually talking about how good Cam Spencer is. Did you see that highlight?
Yeah.
That
white boy a bucket.
Yep. And I was like, yeah, man, that's it's good to see. It's the reason that him and Ja are always going back and forth. I was telling my wife, there was some highlight in that right before they had to go to timeout. Suns called a timeout right after. And Ja is just yelling right at the back of KD's head. Like, every time they play, Ja is at KD's neck and vice versa.
Same way,
right?
Yeah.
But they love each other, right? And that's what the kids would call ethical hoops.
Ethical hooping, baby.
And you love to see it. And so seeing that with Cam Spencer going back and forth, and you know me, I'm a certified psycho lover. Like, I love when people go psycho. That's why I love Vince, Tony. That's why I want Colin Sexton and John Collins on this team. Bobby Portis. The list is endless. That's why I don't want Devin Booker on this team.
Nope.
I'm normally with whoever our guy Chris Ingram wants to trade for, but I saw him mention Devin Booker, and I was like, I can't get behind it. I can't do it.
In a group chat with Chris, I called him an institutionalized loser. I'm good on Devin Booker, man.
Well, I got to be careful with that because I've said about PJ Washington, who turned out to not be that too.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah.
But Devin Booker's been the head of that snake for a while. But all right, I've gotten us entirely off the rails. We're having a lot of fun, but I'm clearly not keeping us on the direction I want to go because I do have one last Grizzlies thing I want to talk about before we look ahead a little bit. Got these comments here, and I actually thought this fit tonight.
It did. He needed Bennis tonight.
Bagley played well against the Suns, man.
He did.
Which we have talked about this before, but Phoenix is not like the stalwart of
what's going on here.
Bigs.
I have confirmation. Daniel Greer tried to jump in the show and hit the wrong button and literally canceled the show.
Yeah,
he's devastated right now. Daniel, join the show and let you in. Like, we'll get you in here.
Yeah, I don't know what was happening. As Lauren wants to say, ¿Qué pasó?
¿Qué pasó?
Yo no sé. Actually, you'll say Daniel.
Daniel, DG. Daniel. You know what it was? I'll be frank with you. I know what it was. The man is so concerned that you're a better host than he is. He just came in and hijacked the show, bro.
There's nothing to be concerned about. I am.
Yeah, listen, it just is what it is, man. Just accept the realities of the situation.
Well, now that we've lost about 700 viewers, we'll get back into what we were talking about before. Wayno, that was a Daniel sabotage.
Yep.
Just so we're super clear on that. We're gonna have to figure out how to parse these shows together. We just made Kenny's life harder because I'm sure I'm not doing that. But Daniel just sabotaged the entire show because he knows he's losing his grip. But beside the points, for everyone who is still here, appreciate you coming back into the second stream. Sorry that Daniel did Daniel things. We all know it was DG behind it. Getting back into what we were talking about, though. For everybody already knows it was Daniel or something.
Everybody said, damn, Daniel. I need that.
I love it.
They knew it.
All right, getting back into it. We were talking about Bagley. All right. And we were talking about Bagley playing really good minutes in the Suns game. Mason Plumlee, who just got KO'd by Steven Adams tonight, by the way. Mason Plumlee, what a lame-o, dude. Steven Adams saved his life, and he's been gunning for his neck ever since, which is so weird.
I got a totally different take on that. Mason Plumlee showed how strong he is, because if you know grappling, like I know you do, Steven Adams had the underhooks on him and had full leverage to be able to do whatever he wanted, and Mason just went flop and just threw him on the ground. That was crazy, bro.
Except for only one dude was leaking blood by the end of it, and it wasn't Steven Adams. But yeah, I'm with you.
He got if you're scoring that fight, that was a takedown with control, is what that was, and that was crazy. Daniel. Oh wait. I'm so sorry, everyone. I was going to go in and push the different camera button and freaked out when I showed up on the screen.
And so he just started pressing buttons.
Yeah,
he ran to panic. Coach Weisberg, if you ever see this, that one's for you, Coach. But Daniel ran to panic. But all the same, I just am like not him. Every time Mason Plumlee gets in a fight, if there's any way for me to say he lost, he lost. So, So Nate pushed the Grizz 901 camera button so it looks normal. Oh, he wants me to push that button.
There you go.
There we go. Don't really care that much. Didn't notice it till now. Wasn't a big deal. It's not a reason to tank the show, Daniel. But Marvin Bagley, getting back to it. This was a night where I felt like you're going against Walker Kessler. You're going against Filipowski, Markkanen. You're going against John Collins. You could use a big who is agile.
Yeah.
That's Marvin Bagley.
I would have liked to have seen Marvin out there more, honestly. Yeah. I mean, I think Jay offered you some good stuff when he did play. I mean, what did he give you? He hit he was 1 for 4 from 3, 2 for 6. I mean, whatever. +8, 4 rebounds, 1 block, 1 assist. Played well, but I think you could have absolutely used some Marvin Bagley minutes in this game. And I was slightly confused as to why he didn't play, but it is what it is.
Well, before we get into a deep dive, everyone let Daniel know we love him.
It's love all Daniel.
Good. We're okay. We love you, buddy. We're just messing.
We were just confused. We were like, what the heck is going on?
I was like, we got hacked. But with Bagley, I talked to Daniel about this last time.
Yeah.
Should he have a chance to get minutes because he fits a lot with this team about what you would want? He fits well with your stars. He's also a big with a lot of potential and a team that you could use another center that can play. Sure. Anytime Taylor's got his guys, he's going to go with the guys he trusts. Same reason Gigi's not getting minutes, right? Like he trusts Brandon Clark. He trusts Santi Aldama. Jay Huff's been there all year. He knows how he's going to play Jay Huff. He knows what to do with him in the clutch situations or just in general out there.
Yeah.
Going to be tough for Bagley to get minutes no matter what the talent level is. Now, I'm interested to hear from you. Do you believe in that? Or do you think he should just get those minutes anyways?
Oh, God, it's so tough, man, because I'm a believer in continuity, right? Like, I think continuity is a real thing. I think knowing, especially not having coached at a high level, obviously, like Taylor Jenkins, you do tend to play the guys you trust. And so I recognize that and I understand that. But I think he's here for a reason, right? And I just get confused as to why he's put out in some games and why not in others. And tonight just felt like the perfect game for him to get minutes. And so do I think he should just automatically come in and start getting minutes? No, I don't suspect that, but I do think there is I do think he has a certain skill set and a certain dynamic that he can, provide that helps in games like this, right? Like that would help in a game like this. So do I think he should just get like a random set number of minutes? That's kind of been my critique of Taylor all year is that he has too rigid of those kinds of rotations and minutes distribution. Like I don't want to just insert Marvin Bagley into that and remove somebody else from the equation. I do think that there are games where you have to kind of play by the feel of the game and go, what would work best for this team right now? And for this game, Marvin should have gotten more minutes. I think, like, as much as I think Lamar Stevens is awesome, I think you take some of those minutes away from him and give them to Bagley, honestly, for this game.
Yep. And like Art's saying, just given the particular matchup tonight is what made me think
100%.
he should play. Completely with Wayno. Small sample size. That makes it really tough. With this team, though, the thing is you don't have a tiny sample size of Marvin Bagley in the league. And when he has played, he's been
effective.
Effective. That's a good word for it.
Let me ask you this. How many guys on this team do you think should have a rigid number of minutes that they get per game? Like that you say you're penciled in no matter what, no matter the matchups, no matter who it is, you get these minutes. This is how many you should play. How many guys on this team do you think should be in that category? Go ahead.
It's a short list. It's a super short list. Ja, Des, Jaren, Brandon.
Wow.
That's it. Maybe Santi. But I'm still like that's dependent on how he's playing too, right?
Right.
Same thing with Luke. Is Luke knocking down shots? Is he spacing the floor? Is he having, as if the kids would say, gravity, or not on a given night? So outside of that, Ja, Jaren, Des, Brandon, matchup proof. That's the only guys you have.
I agree. So that's why I say there are guys on this team that should have a rigid number of minutes, right? Like this is the rotation. This is when you play. And everything else flows around that, right? Like no matter who it is, that's why you have the bench that you have. That's why you've made the moves that you've made, is so that you can have a bench where you have kind of a diversity of roles on that bench that can come in and do different things for you from game to game. There are games where Zach's not going to be able to play much because he's going to get, beat off the dribble too much, or he's going to, so you don't play him 30 minutes a game or 20 minutes a game. Sometimes you play them 12 and then give the rest to somebody else. You just disperse it that way. But I agree with your list. I think Santi is creeping towards that role to me because I think he adds such he's such a matchup problem, I think, when he's aggressive. Same with Luke, right? Like he's very difficult to guard when he's being aggressive. But that's why those guys aren't rigid in their minutes, because they're not always aggressive. There's not a consistency there, right? But with Ja, with Jaren, with Dez, and with BC, you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get. Let's not let a few games this year of an injured Ja, a guy trying to figure his way back into the league after having not played much over the last couple of years, change the fact that we have a really good sample size of what Ja Morant is. Like we know who he is, right? He deserves those minutes, but
sorry, we saw the same comment at the same time. Sam has spent time talking to the Spanish milk carton.
I love Wayno. He can't stand Santi, can he?
Yeah, Wayno, not everyone hates him the way that you do, brother. But on that note, this is the one thing, because it's just so unlikely given the way this coaching staff, this team, this franchise operates, that we see much of Marvin Bagley, which is a shame because there is a ton of potential with that, especially you put him next to Jaren. There's a reason Bagley went over Jaren in that draft. Right. He has a potential, and he's lived up to it when he's been healthy.
Yes.
Sort of. Has he been like a top 5 pick level of production? No. Has it been hey, I could be a really productive center for you production?
Yes.
Absolutely.
His career numbers are better than Brandon's. Let's be frank about it. Like, let's be real about it. Like his career numbers are better than Brandon's at this point. Now, Brandon has a longer sample size, I think, because he's not been as injured as Marvin is, but he's a talented guy.
Yep. And what I'm interested in is this a guy who you can get for on the cheap, have him be long-term after this, because there's so much potential there. Now it's not the priority, right? The priority for the Grizzlies is develop Zach Edey at this point, because this year you have him. There's no chance to go get a vet center. Maybe Edey is the answer long-term. I'm still skeptical, but we'll see. And you've got to consolidate your wings. You got to get that wings. Point blank period. But you got to forget 15 players, 14 players one way or another. Marvin Bagley has not been healthy enough to earn a massive contract. that could be something that actually does work out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be interested to see that. But that is pretty much all the Grizz talk we have for this second edition of the Grizz 901 reboot tonight, I guess is what we'll call it. Before we hop out of here, anything else on this game tonight? Anything else about this team in general you just want to get off your chest? Because this is our quota for the year. This is probably the last time we'll talk.
This is it. This is going to be the last time we talk all year. I love seeing the Grizzlies are the most important sports program in the city of Memphis. And I spend the majority of my time with the Memphis Tigers. And so seeing them do well is a joy for me. Like I think there are a lot of flaws to this team right now, to this roster right now. There's a lot of flaws. I would say shout out to the front office for setting up, I think, this team to be successful for the future, right? And let's not forget that this team is still third in the West right now, right? Like with all the flaws that we've seen, with all the things that we complain about every single Grizzly show on Bluff City Media's network, there's so much complaining that happens. This team is still third in the West and is set up for the future. Like the future is extremely bright for this Grizzlies franchise. And so just want to keep that in mind, man. Like every year, is it 30 teams in the NBA now, or is it 31? 30?
30.
30. 29 teams go home disappointed, right? At different times, obviously, they go home disappointed. Do I think the Grizzlies are contenders this year? I don't think so. I think the trade deadline proved that. I think they are set up, though, for success for the future, and they're still third in the West right now. So, man, just get behind this team and keep cheering them on. Shout out to Judge, Aaron, and Des.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We're having what would be considered a somewhat disappointing season in a lot of people's eyes, and they're 42-24, third in the West. By the way, Wolves and Nuggets facing off right now on what channel? ESPN.
Yeah.
Wolves have the lead. There's a chance they are up to the 2 seed by the end of the night. If nothing else, 3 seed facing the Wolves. I'm not sure what the tiebreaker looks like for Golden State, Minnesota, and Denver and Memphis. But
interesting.
Put you in an interesting spot, to say the least. They have a chance to still do a lot of noise in the postseason. And the biggest thing that I'll give everybody out here that I've said all of last year, and it proved true for like 3 games before it all got sabotaged and turned to dust. Getting Ja Morant back changes a lot.
Changes everything.
Ja Morant's played a bunch of games this year. We haven't seen Ja Morant consistently until the past 2 to 3 weeks. Getting Ja Morant back changes a lot of stuff. So if you can get Ja Morant playing to the level of an SGA, of a Steph Curry, all of who we would have said both of those guys he's on par with when he's playing at his best over the course of his career. SGA is obviously otherworldly this year, to be clear. But that can help you a lot. So that's all you want. You want hope, and you want to be able to cheer your team on going into the playoffs. And we're right there with it. So excited to do Friday night. For everybody here, again, we are the Grizz 901 postgame show. Appreciate y'all tuning in, especially if you're here right now. That means you re-tuned in. So appreciate you very much.
Y'all are the real ones, man. The 179 people that are watching this right now, y'all are the real ones, man. I
yeah, because we lost like everybody for the most part. No, we did lose everybody for a minute, but we will be back Friday night. I believe Daniel will be back by then. I should still be here. Maybe we'll have some guests depending on how crazy the game gets. I know Kenny won't be one of those because he will be going to Texas for the American Athletic Conference tournament. Everybody tune in. Again, Tigers coverage is unbelievable here at Bluff City Media. So definitely tune in.
Shout out to Francis Carlotta, Tigers Live host, the post game show. Most of the Tigers games that are going to be happening during this weekend are in the afternoon, so they won't interfere with Grizz 901. But man, I will say this: I think BCM has the 2 best post game shows in the entire city, and so this show is awesome. This show. I said this on Tigers Live a few weeks ago. Daniel was in the comment section, and I said this, and I 100% mean it. Tigers Live exists because of Grizz 901. So you guys are phenomenal at what you do. Keep grinding, keep going. Daniel's the man. You're awesome, bro. Like, you're awesome. So we Tigers Live is we started Tigers Live because we're like, Grizz 901 is really good. Let's try a Tigers show. And so that's why that show exists. So come hang out with us. Francis Carlotta's the man. Roman will be in there. I'll be in there. You'll see all the press conference with some highlight packages, all that kind of stuff. If the Grizz would give me a media credential, I'll get some highlight packages for the Grizzlies too. But
story for another day. But that's all we got for tonight. We will see y'all again on Friday, hopefully for another Grizz W. I am Nate, your temporary co-host. This is Kenny Stubblefield joining us before he heads to Texas. Y'all be careful, be safe, be nice. Tell your friends.